Hi, I'm Cheryl Chapman and this is the Live, Love, Laugh Lives, where I'm speaking with entrepreneurs, employers, employees and enlightened souls who are sharing how they live their lives, how they do what they love, and sometimes along the way I'm sure we'll have a few laughs as well. Today I am joined by an amazing, incredible human who is out there trying to spread a little bit of love across the world. She's already had her own TV programme, which we will speak about, of course, no doubt. So I would like you to introduce yourself, please, and what do you do?
Hi, I'm Gurjit Rana. I'm a host, I'm a coach in all things relationships.
Brilliant. Welcome, Gurjit, welcome. Recently I saw you doing a talk about tea. And I know that there's a big thing, isn't there? Because you're actually a coffee drinker. And I know that you said in your talk at some stage, I bet you think I'm obsessed with tea. But what is it? Is this a British thing? What is it that you talk about tea about for?
T stands for an acronym, actually. It stands for thoughts, emotions and action. So it's an analogy that I use, the perfect cup of tea. Like when we wake up in the morning, who doesn't enjoy a good cup of tea to start them off? And if only relationships were like that, like a perfect cup of morning brew. Unfortunately, they become messy, but it starts off the minute you know that you've had a bad cup of tea.
Yeah, it's interesting because I always used to say, if someone asks me to make a cup of tea, if I make it really badly, they'll never ask me again. But I suppose in your analogy there with the relationships, that might be why I struggle to get a relationship, maybe, who knows? So you talk everything about relationships. Why do you do that? Why did you start?
When I was looking for the one, as we all think that we have to find the one and become the one, but find the one is the most important thing. We're out there searching for this soul. And I know I spent my fair triad of relationship dates and so forth. And I really got to the point of the end of my tether. And for me, even once I'd found the one and got married, it still felt like, hang on, I've got another level to go. And I still don't understand relationships. And what really occurred for me is we've been sold this narrative, right, for generations. And it's not a cultural thing. For those of you sat there thinking, well, she's Asian and that's where it comes from. It's got nothing to do with that. We have for years been conditioned in a way that certainly for a woman, you can go to school, you can get the grades if you want the grades, or in fact, strive and go to university, get a great job and find the one and hurry up and get married and then start having your children. And whilst that narrative I thought was the holy gospel, that is the only way society will accept you, I discovered it's not. Because for me, born here in the UK, my parents born in India, arranged marriage, my own siblings that got married and brought up in the UK and got married here, it was a completely different world. I saw a different array of relationships around me, from family to friends, distant relatives. And one thing that was clear, no two marriages are the same. In fact, no marriage is perfect. And yet we strive for this blimmin' perfection. We're like given this narrative that as soon as you get married, it will be fine, it will be perfect. So for me, the reason why I'm choosing to do relationships or focusing on it, because I used to be pretty crap at them, to be honest. That's the first thing to say.
Did you coach yourself originally then?
No, I learnt the hard way like many people do, which is, of course I can do relationships. But actually, when I got into the marital relationship, which I thought was the only relationship, I realised I'm not great at relationships. In fact, I don't know how to connect with people. I didn't even know how to really date. And by the time I'd met my husband, we were married, I didn't even know how to do a marriage. And nobody gives you a book of here you go. Here's how to get dating right, 101. And here's to get marriage right, 102. And here's volume 3 when you have kids. It's a balancing act of all three. And so what I discovered is not many women know this, right? And in fact, it's even there for men as well. Nobody has the secret recipe or the silver lining to all of this. And as I discovered from the breakdown of my own marriage, who wouldn't I want to help? Whose life wouldn't I want to make easy? Because the struggles are freaking real. Let's face it. First you feel like you're isolated or you're left on your own, you're left on the shelf, and that knocks your confidence. And finally you meet the one and you think, yes, this person's going to give me everything in life. And then you think, oh God, why did I do this? And that wasn't necessarily the truth for me, but I can imagine some for you if you're going through this. And of course, For some people, it's easier to move on, find a partner, recreate life. And for some, we're just stuck with it, stuck with all the baggage and all the crap that comes with it. So I really wanted to make a difference to other people, that really life and relationships doesn't need to be this way.
Yeah. It's interesting that you have the analogy to tea, because I mean, it's kind of like if someone gives you a cup of tea and you're like, I don't like it milky, and it's like really milky, you're like, do I say anything, or do I just like kind of like just drink it? Do I leave it to one side? Do I ignore it? You know, there's all those kind of analogies that go with the relationships as well. In terms of the relationships then, is it relationships as in, you know, love relationships, or do you do all things relationship? Does that include friendships, etc.? And families?
Yes, that's a really good question. The challenge is, Cheryl, until we go through heartache, nobody really wants to talk about relationships. Nobody will say, I've got a challenge with my parents, or I've got a challenge with my siblings, or I got challenges at work colleagues or a boss. We kind of just see them as bye or bye. And this is where I was saying that you don't recognize these relationships. You just go, oh, that's just I can get another boss. You know, I can change jobs. I can get some new friends. Yeah. I suppose I can put up with my family. Yeah. But to answer your question, no, we start off on a journey that is aimed towards really discovering you and your own relationship to yourself before you can start having relationships with other people. But along the journey, you get to heal some of these other relationships that matter the most to you.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because actually, if you're making, I know I keep going back to this tea, but I'm fascinated by it because I just think it's brilliant. So thoughts, emotions and actions, I think you said, yeah. So in terms of the tea, like if you don't know how you want your tea, how can anybody ever give you what you want in your relationship, right?
100%. If you don't know how to love yourself, how are you going to get that from the other person back when they don't know how to love you? And you're right. Tea is one of those, how do I call it, symbolic things that we have, or many of us do every morning. And mind you, I can tell you why I didn't get relationships right. I didn't drink tea for near on 30 years.
You just drank coffee?
I just went straight to coffee.
But it's kind of like tea and sympathy as well, isn't it? So if you've had a breakup of a relationship, I mean, I know obviously, you know, there's a lot of alcohol, you know, consumed, you know, when there's tears of sadness. But tea, of course, is the one that is also there as an alternative.
It's one of those that we all gravitate to, don't we? That going, let's have a cup of tea and talk about it. That will make you feel better. Yeah. And you do one of two things when you're doing that, right? And we've all done it. We'll have a good gossip about it. We'll have a good natter about it. It makes you feel better. But actually, does it resolve anything? No. Well,
the thing is, I mean, I've had a few relationships. What can I say? I'm old. That's what I'm going to say. That's why I've had a lot of relationships. But in terms of the relationships, you know what it's like. You know, you fall out with someone, you go see your friends. Everybody thinks, you know, he or she is absolutely, you know, usually choice words, of course. Can't believe they treated you like this, you know, and you know when you're a relationship coach, or you know when you're working with people on a coaching level, it's kind of like, well, actually, you probably need to have a look at yourself. So when do people come to you? Do they think they have to come to you when it's almost too late?
No. As a lot of people assume that, and certainly when you're in marriages, when you're at that what I call your wit's end about the whole thing, and you're thinking, right, I've tried everything else, you know. One of the things out there is not many people talk about relationships openly as I do. So yes, when people kind of get to that point of, I don't know what else to do. And it's the same when you're single. I don't know what else to do. I can't find the man that I want. There's nobody out there for me. And of course, those that are divorced, because you're now scared. You know, and I was in that space, scared of having your next relationship. Or the same things keep showing up. And you know what? I know, certainly for some people, they may frown on this. You know, there's no such thing as one relationship. So when you say, I've been in a few, it was just, what's the word they say? It will keep coming back to you until the lesson is taught.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the more importantly, you got a lot of feedback.
Yeah, I got a lot of feedback. Yeah, I got a lot of heartache, got a lot of wedding dresses, got a lot of engagement rings. Yeah, got a lot of jewellery out of it. There was a. But you're right, because I remember, you know, looking back, now I go, oh, I can see why that person did that and that person did that and that, because I was the common denominator. And I think that's the light bulb moment, isn't it? That actually you need to do a bit of work on yourself before you can expect somebody else to sort of give to you. So you had was it like a series on Sky, or what was going on with that? Tell me about that.
So one of the things I was privileged enough to get involved with, I really wanted to go out there and make a difference to young single women. You know, I got that you're super successful, you're working hard, And really what I was clear to me was perfection is freaking survival. I said perfection is survival. And that's how I was thriving, going, you know what? I just need to get married. I just need to meet the one. I know I've got to have the best job, the best salary, the best car, the best holidays, the works. And this best or this perfection that we're constantly seeking is what traps us, right? And we end up working off this superficial list of what we think we want in a relationship versus one of the things that I teach, which is relationship values. Who do you need to be to attract the right relationship? Who do you need to become in order to have love around you? And really, when I was fortunate enough to be asked to do this coaching program, initially I stepped back and went, I can't do that. Do you know what the Asian community will say to me? Hell no. Do you know what my parents will say to me? And I just found myself on the TV show with some amazing ladies. And I remember my nephews both saying to me, don't you ever do that again. It's embarrassing, auntie, you're not that old. But I remember one of the words that came out of my mouth, which is marriage is a mindset. It's completely different from dating. And it all starts with you. Because when you know that you're ready, it doesn't matter who turns up or who doesn't turn up in your life. It's when you declare that you're ready to be in a relationship. It's there when you're ready to say, okay, this is what I will give to my relationship. Most of us are just, how do I put it? We've just been taught, what can you get? If you bought something, what do I get back? If I make you a cup of tea, what will I get back?
Yeah. Do I get a biscuit?
Yeah.
In terms of the people who come to you then, is there this kind of thought process that they'll come to you because the marriage is ending and therefore they're coming to you because they want to know what to do at the end of the marriage? Or, is that what you do, or do you actually do other aspects?
No, it's more than that. Yes, most of the time women that are struggling in the marriage, and it could be in the early years where you've just had children, and I call it the power struggle, because in the first few years we're just dominating each other to have control. As women, we have been conditioned to be in our own homes, and we don't get told, well, we probably do get told by a family, you need to change, you need to be like this, you need to be like that. But as we're evolving, because we're not growing, we go into a relationship thinking this person will be fine. They'll just do what I want them to do. And the other person's going, oh no, I want you to do what I want to do. And I often say we're too busy planning one day instead of, all of our life. Beyond that one day. And when we're sort of stuck there, everything shows up, the friction from our past, the way we behave with our parents, our siblings, and actually we're just reliving that reality again and again. So yeah, when women show up to me, they're in a number of different places. They could be about to start a divorce. They could be in that moment where they're just at their wit's end and distressed. It could be women that have, how do I put it, prolonged levels of abuse and many years of abuse. But ultimately, and this might sound a bit harsh, it's not how long you've endured what you've endured. The question to ask yourself is, what are you going to do about it? Why do you put up with it? And I get finances, kids, society, what does everybody think? But actually, your life is really important, And I'm sure as you discovered in your relationships, there was something there that made you go, nope, they're not the right person for me. So I think, I really acknowledge those that stay in such marriages that don't work. But I also acknowledge those that really do want perfect, but amazing relationships.
Yeah, it's interesting. So we know how you live your life then. We know that you love what you do. You're obviously really clearly passionate. What makes you laugh?
What makes me laugh and smile is just hearing when people have had transformations with their family members. When they've been trying for children and all of a sudden it happens with ease and flow. When they've been searching for a partner and they've become engaged. Or when they've had a breakthrough with a sibling. How many sisters, come together because all of a sudden, we all do it. We're all competitive women out there. And really it's not competing in life. It's about winning in life. And winning comes in partnership. And that starts with every person you meet. Because the way you are with one person is naturally how you're going to be with everybody else. But if you constantly walk around thinking, I need to be, how to put it, secretive, guarded, I can't trust people. Who wants to hang out with people like that? when you started your journey in personal development, I'm sure there came a point where you thought, you know what, something needs to give here. I can't continue being that person from past.
Yeah. Well, you kind of, monkey see, monkey do. You follow your parents, you follow, teachers, people who influence you, and you play the only role, as Marissa Peer would say, that you know until you make a role of your own, and that is absolutely true. So, in terms of how people work with you, do they do this, online? How do you work at the moment?
Well, I work with groups, so I have ladies that show up to my masterclasses, and then from there they get involved, they get to do a couple of exercises, and no obligation, but if you're ready for it, you're really committed and really want to make a difference to your relationships, and you can understand that you're at the source of it, that it doesn't require your mother-in-law doing it, it doesn't require your husband doing it, it doesn't require any other family member, but you're really willing to take some ownership and some responsibility to look within, and go somewhere where you may not have thought about, then that's where it begins. And we go on a beautiful journey, 5 amazing modules over 12 weeks, and you really get to delve in further into what it takes to love thyself so that you can love other people.
Yeah, great. Sounds like it's about a relationship with yourself first, and then, of course, with everybody else.
100%. But we start looking at, naturally, other relationships to start to see what shows up for you. Yes. Because we don't, how do I put it, we don't easily accept at first that, it's me. We have to discover what it is about everybody else and me.
Yeah. I suppose it'd be rude not to end on tea.
Would you like a cuppa?
Like a cuppa, yeah.
Do you want me to stick the kettle on?
Thank you for having a cuppa, yeah. Thank you, Gurjit. Thank you so much. If anybody's interested in finding out more about what Gurjit does, then of course please click the links below. And of course remember to live, love and laugh every day. We'll see you soon. Take care.